You know the loud narcissist, the one who storms into a room demanding to be the center of the universe. The peacock, the tyrant, they are easy to spot. But what about the quiet one? The one who doesn't roar, but whimpers. The one who is always the victim, always so sensitive, always in crisis, always in need of your help. The one you feel so much pity for. And yet, after every conversation, you walk away feeling drained, confused, and somehow smaller. You feel crazy. What if they are the most dangerous type of all? The most effective manipulators don't control you with rage. They control you with pity. They don't demand your attention. They earn it through perpetual crisis. You think you're helping a wounded soul, but you may be providing supply to a hidden narcissist. The vulnerability you see is not a state of being. It is a hunting strategy. Unmasking this wolf in sheep's clothing is one of the most difficult and most necessary acts of shadow work. It requires you to look past the story they tell and trust the data your body is giving you. Today, we turn on the lights in that confusing room. First, we will define the crucial difference between the overt, loud narcissist and the covert, quiet one. Second, we will walk through the 7 signature behavioral patterns that will unmask them every time. And third, I will give you a simple body-based practice to reclaim your sense of reality, to know in your bones when you are in the presence of this subtle poison. It is time to stop doubting your own mind. To begin this journey of profound clarity, I invite you to make a commitment to your own perception. Write in the comments below, "I will trust my body's verdict."
To unmask the covert narcissist, you must first understand the mask. In the world of Jungian psychology, we know that all narcissism stems from a deep developmental wound, a failure to form a healthy sense of self. The overt or classic narcissist compensates for this inner void with grandiosity. Their entire life is a performance of superiority. Their motto is, "Look at me, I am magnificent." Their energy is expansive, loud, demanding. They are a brightly lit, but ultimately empty stage. The covert narcissist is born from the same wound, the same inner void. But their compensation strategy is the opposite. They do not build themselves up with grandiosity. They build themselves up with vulnerability. Their life is a performance of special, misunderstood suffering. Their motto is not, "I am magnificent." It is, "Look at how the world has wounded me. I am magnificent in my pain." They are not the hero of their story. They are the professional victim. This is the camouflage, and it is a camouflage perfectly designed to be irresistible to one specific type of person. The empath, the rescuer, you. Let's be very clear. The dynamic between an empath and a covert narcissist is not an accident. It is a perfect, tragic lock and key. The covert narcissist has a bottomless need for validation, pity, and caretaking. This is their narcissistic supply. You, as an empath, have been conditioned your entire life to believe that your worth comes from your ability to give validation, pity, and caretaking. They have a void that needs filling. You have been taught that your purpose is to fill voids. You see a wounded soul, a project for your compassion. They see a reliable, high-quality source of supply. Let's imagine Chloe, our nurse. She begins a friendship with a new colleague, Mark. Mark is not loud or arrogant. He is quiet, sensitive, and seems incredibly deep. He tells Chloe that he has always felt misunderstood, that people don't appreciate his unique talents, that past partners have been cruel to him. His story is one of tragic, unrealized potential. Chloe's heart goes out to him. Her rescuer archetype is activated. She thinks, finally, someone who understands depth. I can be the one to see him, to appreciate him. I can help him heal. She feels needed. She feels special. She does not realize that she has just been cast in a role. The role of primary caregiver to a hidden narcissist. At first it feels wonderful. She listens for hours. She encourages his dreams. She soothes his anxieties. She is the perfect attentive audience for his one-man show of suffering. She feels like a good person, a kind person. This is the lure, the bait in the trap. But slowly, things begin to feel off. After their conversations, she doesn't feel energized by the connection. She feels drained, depleted. When she has a problem of her own, the conversation somehow, magically, always circles back to Mark's bigger, more tragic problems. She starts to feel a strange, creeping guilt, a feeling that she is never doing enough for him. She begins to walk on eggshells, afraid of saying something that might trigger his sensitivity. She starts to feel smaller, more confused. This is the most important sign. This is the data from your body that you have been taught to ignore. The slow, creeping fog of confusion and self-doubt. The feeling of going crazy. You are not going crazy. You are waking up inside the illusion. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow as everything we have refused to acknowledge about ourselves. The covert narcissist is a master of their shadow in a destructive way. They have projected all of their own incompetence, their insecurity, their neediness onto the world. The world is the problem. They are the blameless victim. And in a relationship with them, you eventually become the world. You become the one who is not understanding enough, not supportive enough. You become the source of their pain. This is the great tragic irony. You entered the relationship to be the healer, and you will end up being cast as the villain. Not because you have changed, but because you have started to run out of supply. And a starving narcissist will always, eventually, turn on their source. Understanding this dynamic is the first and most critical act of self-defense. It is the moment you stop looking at the sheep's clothing and start acknowledging the wolf you have felt in your bones all along. The path to clarity is not to analyze their words, it is to catalog their patterns. And the covert narcissist has a set of signature moves, a playbook that once you see it, you can never unsee. So let us open the playbook. Let us study the signature moves of the covert narcissist. These are not mistakes in character, they are strategies. And once you learn to recognize them, their power over you begins to dissolve. The first and most foundational sign is the perpetual victim. Every story they tell, every anecdote from their past or present is a story of how they were wronged. They are the eternal victim of unfair bosses, cruel partners, and a world that just doesn't understand their special nature. They never take responsibility. Nothing is ever their fault. When you first meet them, this is the hook. It activates your empathy. You want to heal this wounded bird. But over time, you will notice a chilling pattern. In their grand opera of victimhood, there is no room for your pain. Your struggles are always minimized, dismissed, or immediately compared to their greater suffering. Let's go back to Chloe and Mark, the sensitive colleague. Chloe comes to Mark one day, genuinely distressed about a conflict with her landlord. Mark listens for a moment. And then he says, "That sounds terrible. It reminds me of the time my old landlord illegally evicted me in the middle of winter. I was homeless for a week." And for the next 20 minutes, Chloe finds herself comforting him about his past trauma. Her own present-day problem has been completely erased. This is the perpetual victim in action. The second sign is what we call humble bragging. The overt narcissist will tell you they are a genius. The covert narcissist will tell you they are a failure, so that you will tell them they are a genius. They fish for compliments by using self-deprecation. "Oh, this report I wrote is probably terrible. I'm just so bad at these things." This is not genuine humility. It is a manipulation designed to compel you into the role of their admirer. It is a demand for supply, disguised as a confession. The third sign is a masterclass in indirect hostility, passive aggression. Because the covert narcissist's persona is that of a nice, sensitive person, they cannot express anger directly. It would shatter their mask. So their anger comes out sideways. It is the sarcastic comment that has a sting of truth. "Oh, you're actually leaving on time today. Must be nice." It is the silent treatment, where they punish you with their withdrawal, forcing you to chase after them asking what's wrong. It is the backhanded compliment. Imagine Chloe gets a new haircut. Mark says, "Wow, Chloe, I love your hair. It's so much more professional than your old style." The praise is the vehicle for the criticism. It leaves you feeling confused and vaguely insulted, but with nothing concrete to confront. The fourth sign is their extreme sensitivity to criticism. While they can dish it out passively, they cannot take it. The slightest, most gentle constructive feedback is perceived as a vicious, personal attack. Their fragile ego cannot tolerate any suggestion that they are not perfect in their victimhood. If you dare to point out a small mistake or suggest a different way of doing things, they will not respond with curiosity. They will respond with wounded silence or a disproportionate emotional collapse. This trains you over time to never criticize them again. It trains you to walk on eggshells. This leads to the fifth and perhaps most telling sign: a profound lack of empathy. This is the great paradox. The person who seems the most sensitive, the most in need of your empathy, often has very little of it for you. They can perform empathy brilliantly. They know all the right words to say. But it is a performance, not a felt experience. You will notice this in moments of your own deep need. When you are truly in crisis, they may offer the correct-sounding words for a moment, but the conversation will quickly pivot back to them, to how your crisis is affecting them, to how it reminds them of their pain. Their compassion is a tool to get supply, not a gift they give freely. The sixth sign is the creation of a special kind of isolation, the special misunderstanding. They cultivate the idea that they are so unique, so deep, so complex that no one in the world can truly understand them, except, perhaps, you. This is an incredibly seductive hook for the rescuer. It makes you feel special, chosen. You are the one who finally gets them. But it is also a trap. It creates a dynamic where you are constantly trying to prove your special understanding by tolerating their bad behavior, by giving more and more supply. It is a job with no finish line. And finally, all of these signs culminate in the seventh and most important indicator of all: the confusion fog. This is the data from your own body. After interacting with a covert narcissist, you do not feel clear. You do not feel seen. You feel drained, anxious, and deeply confused.
You question yourself. Did I say the wrong thing? Am I being too sensitive? Maybe I'm the problem. This fog is not a sign of your weakness. It is a sign of their presence. It is the psychic static that their dysfunctional energy field creates. It is your soul's alarm system screaming that you are in the presence of someone who is not who they appeared to be. This fog is your most reliable compass.
But the playbook is not the whole story. To see the patterns is one thing. To understand why you stay, that is a deeper, more painful inquiry. If these relationships leave you feeling so drained, so confused, so crazy, why are they so incredibly difficult to leave? The answer does not lie in them. It lies in you. It lies in the beautiful, compassionate, and ultimately hijacked parts of your own psyche. The covert narcissist is a master at hooking into 3 of the empath's deepest wounds. The first and most powerful hook is the pity bond. You, as a compassionate person, have been taught that leaving someone who is suffering is a profound act of cruelty. And the covert narcissist's entire identity is built around the performance of suffering. They seem so fragile, so broken, so in need of you. You feel guilty for even thinking about leaving. You tell yourself, they can't survive without me. This is the heart of the rescuer's trap. You mistake their bottomless need for your profound importance. You confuse your role as their source of supply with your identity as their savior. Let me be very clear. Your compassion is not the problem. Your compassion is a gift. The problem is that you are offering this sacred gift to someone who is not using it to heal, but is using it as fuel. You are pouring water into a bucket with no bottom, and you are dying of thirst. The second hook is a cognitive trap. It is the sunk cost fallacy. You have invested so much time, so much energy, so much love, so many second chances. You have listened to the same stories of victimhood 100 times. You have soothed the same anxieties, calmed the same manufactured crises. To leave now would be to admit that all of that investment was for nothing. It would feel like a personal failure. Your ego cannot bear it, so it whispers to you, just a little longer. Maybe this time they'll change. Maybe this time I can finally fix them. This is a lie. You are not a rehabilitation center. You are a human being. And you cannot save someone who is in love with their own suffering. Walking away is not an admission of failure. It is an act of honoring the value of your own life force. The third hook is the most seductive of all. They make you feel special. The covert narcissist's story is that they are so unique, so misunderstood, that no one in the world can truly see them. And they have chosen you. You are the only one who gets them. You are the one with the rare insight, the profound compassion to see the wounded soul behind their difficult behavior. This is a powerful drug for the rescuer archetype within us. It validates your identity as a healer, as a person of unique depth. But this specialness is a cage. It isolates you. It makes you feel that no one else could possibly understand the complex, tragic beauty of this person you are trying to save. It makes you a co-conspirator in your own depletion. The pity bond, the sunk cost fallacy, the cage of specialness. These are the invisible anchors that keep you tethered to a sinking ship. So how do you cut the ropes?
How do you find the strength to choose yourself? You do not start by arguing with them. You do not start by trying to convince them. You start by learning to trust yourself again. You start by honoring the single most reliable source of data you have, the wisdom of your own body. This is your practice. This is your way out of the fog. I call it the post-interaction audit. When you are in a conversation with them, your mind will be confused. They are masters of that. But your body cannot be gaslit. Your body tells the truth. So after your next interaction with this person, find a quiet space, even if it's just for 2 minutes in your car or in the bathroom. Close your eyes, take a breath, and do not try to analyze what was said. Instead, ask your body 3 simple, non-negotiable questions. Question 1. Right now, do I feel energized or do I feel drained? Be honest. Is there a buzzing vitality in your cells or a heavy, leaden exhaustion? Question 2. Right now, do I feel clearer or more confused? Is your mind calm and sharp, or is it a swirling fog of self-doubt and replayed conversations? And question 3, the most important question of all. Right now, do I feel better about myself or worse about myself? Do you feel seen, valued, and expanded? Or do you feel small, inadequate, and somehow wrong? This is the golden rule of this work. Trust the data from your body over the story from their mouth. Their story may be convincing. Their tears may be real. Their pain may be genuine. But if the consistent, undeniable result of your interaction with them is that you feel drained, confused, and worse about yourself, that is the only data you need. That is the truth. That is your compass finally pointing north. Your body is telling you in the only language it knows that you are in the presence of poison. And the only sane response to poison is to walk away.
Today, we have named the ghost. We have pulled back the curtain on the most deceptive of manipulators, the covert narcissist. We have seen the camouflage, the mask of the sensitive victim that is so irresistible to the empathic heart. We have cataloged the 7 signature moves, from the perpetual victim narrative to the insidious confusion fog. And we have illuminated the 3 invisible anchors, the pity bond, the sunk cost fallacy, and the cage of specialness that keep you tethered to a dynamic that is draining your life force. But information alone is not liberation. True freedom comes from the reclamation of your own inner authority. And that authority does not live in your analytical mind. It lives in your bones. It lives in your gut. It lives in the quiet, unshakable wisdom of your body. Your practice for this week is not to confront, not to diagnose, not to label anyone in your life. Your practice is simply to listen, to perform the post-interaction audit, to honor the data your nervous system is giving you. Find a quiet moment after an interaction that left you feeling off, and ask the 3 questions. Do I feel drained or energized? Do I feel confused or clear? Do I feel smaller or more myself? This is a radical act of shadow work. You are learning to trust the disowned, intuitive parts of yourself that have been speaking to you all along, the parts you were taught to silence in favor of being nice or understanding. Carl Jung believed that the goal of individuation, the journey to wholeness, is a process of integrating these unconscious truths.
Your body's verdict is one of those truths. It is your most loyal and honest messenger. Learning to trust it above all else is the ultimate act of self-reclamation. As you begin to trust this inner compass, as you start to see the truth of these draining dynamics, a new and perhaps even more difficult question will arise. You will see the toxicity. You will know you need to create distance, perhaps even to leave entirely. But a lifetime of conditioning, a culture that praises forgiveness above all else, will rise up to meet you. You will be told that holding on is a virtue, that a good person forgives, that letting go is an act of cruelty. But what if forgiveness, when offered prematurely to someone who was unrepentant and still causing harm, is not an act of spiritual maturity? What if it is the final, most profound act of self-abandonment? What if the most loving, the most honest, and the most sacred thing you can do is to say a final, unequivocal no? That is the art of the final boundary. The boundary that is not a negotiation, but a conclusion. And that is the courageous territory we will step into in our next conversation. For now, your work is to become a scientist of your own well-being, to collect the data, to honor the truth of your own body. To make this commitment to clarity, I invite you to make a final declaration. Share in the comments below a simple, powerful vow to your own inner wisdom. I will trust my body's verdict. By writing these words, you are not just typing a comment. You are choosing your guide. You are choosing to navigate by the compass within, the one that will always, always lead you home to yourself.